be sure that even the free stuff, you're being analytical and you're approaching it with some type of strategy.
Hey everyone, welcome to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast, where we celebrate the S.O.B that you are, and if you haven't figured it out yet, we mean small-owned business. We don't mean S.O.B.
Listen, we know that as a small business owner, you are working hard on the daily to keep your business fully operational while trying to promote it. And while some days it may feel like the business is owning you, if we're being honest with each other, I bet you would admit that you wouldn't give up the insanity for anything.
Our commitment here at the S.O.B Marketing Podcast is to give you the real talk, what works when it comes to advertising, marketing, promoting your business, and then what doesn't really work.
And Chelsea and I promise to always keep the conversation real.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the S.O.B Marketing Podcast. S.O.B as in small-owned business. We are not calling you guys names. If you guys have any topics that you want us to talk about, please send them our way. If you're watching on YouTube, you can leave it in a comment. You can send us a DM on social media, or you can email us at help@theseasonedmarketer.com. Also, if you have any small business owner friends that you think would benefit from listening to this podcast, send it to them. We are here to help small business owners feel confident and comfortable in their marketing. So thank you for listening. Vivian, what are we talking about today?
Hello, my beautiful sister. So today, I think everybody is going to enjoy the conversation because it is one that is for those small business owners that maybe are like, I don't have a big budget right now to spend on advertising or marketing, but I know I need to get in front of people and I know I need to promote my small business. We are going to be covering the topic of how you can promote your small business without paid advertising, i.e. organically. And y'all, we're talking about more than just social media marketing, okay? So you're going to be very happy with us. We are not just focusing on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. So Chelsea, where would you like to start the conversation today?
Well, I want to start with a little disclaimer because now I've brought up this multiple times in multiple episodes, but just because it's free monetarily does not mean that it doesn't cost you anything, right? So being smart with your time and organizing yourself in a way that you are not losing out on money because you are spending time in a way that you shouldn't be.
And I'm so glad that you started there because the other part of that is we give a little more leeway to free. When we think free, we're like, maybe it's not the best use of my time, but it's free. So, I should continue doing it because any progress is going to be good. But like you said, there is an investment of time. And because you guys are small business owners, you can be utilizing and leveraging that time to do other things in your business. So almost we should be comparing free to, the upper echelon of things that we are doing. You don't want to be spending your time on spinning your wheels and doing stuff that isn't garnering you any business or any, just awareness for your brand. I am going to tack one more thing onto that disclaimer and also say, if you have employees or team members that are working with you, just because it's free, it doesn't mean that they also should be spending their time working on it. So if you're thinking, well, Vivian, it's fine because I'm not doing it. I have better things I can be doing with my time. You want to be just as judicious with the time of your staff and team members. And so what we're hoping is some of these items that we're speaking on today, if you're not already doing them, just take them into consideration. Remember that they may not be a good fit for you and it may not generate as much interest in the industry that you're in or in the product and service that you're selling. So we're bringing it up so that way you guys can throw it in there and think about it. But across the board, we're not saying that you should absolutely do it because we know every small business is different.
So Vivian, I want to start off with one that I think we are now sleeping on because it's not the cool thing to do anymore, right? And that's blog posts.
Yeah, it really is tried and true. It's been a while. It's been around for a while. And to your point, I think it's like everything else. SEO is not glamorous. Blog posts are not glamorous. People are probably thinking, you know, does anybody really read it? But so here's the thing with blog posts. The reason they are so good is because anything you put on or in the interwebs, you guys, lives on forever and ever and ever into infinite space. Okay. And so if you are consistently putting something in a blog post, then over time, you have that potential to garner those views and to rank high in search engine optimization land. So, because it's doing that work for you and you're not having to do anything but to go in there and post that initial, information or content, I think it really is a great way to spend your time.
Yeah, blog posts. I feel like I, the other day, was reading some articles and they were saying, are blog posts still relevant? And SEO is still a thing. Like, because now there have been changes in SEO, SGE is now a thing. If you are going to consider blog posts as a way to grow organically, I do suggest that you watch our episode on SGE because we give you some ideas on how to pivot the way that you write your blog posts so that you can stay optimized and actually show up on Google, whether it's the AI version of Google or not. But yeah, blog posts are so important for helping you be found specifically on the interwebs. And I feel like a lot of people forget people still use Google.
Yeah, so let's equip people with, if you ever have that thought and you're wondering, you're like, is this still relevant? Is this still something that I need to be investing any time or giving any thought to? Like Chelsea said, Google is still a thing. All right. If you are using a search engine for anything, as a user, as a person of this world, just think about it. Where are they pulling the content from? They have to pull it from somewhere, okay? The computers are not just making stuff up. They are pulling it and repurposing it and using it. The information that they're putting in front of you is stemming from somewhere. And so if the thought ever crosses your mind, and let's say blog post is the perfect example for this, is it still relevant? Well, does Google still use it to provide information? And the answer is yes. And so, yes, it is still relevant. So that, just think of it logically, and then I think you'll land on the answer. But I do love the fact that, like I said, it does blog post keep working for you even after you do that initial post and publish it. And also because you can do such a variety of topics. And so really the focus here, if you are integrating a blog post onto your website or whatever other forum you have, then be sure that you are answering questions that people are actually asking in regards to your business. A perfect example of this, and I think physical therapists do this brilliantly. So if I'm a first timer going to physical therapy and I just had surgery on my shoulder, I want to know what to expect. One of the blog posts could be what to expect when you come to your first appointment, what to wear to your first appointment, because that's all stuff that is important. And that is, you can easily just go into Google, start typing, because y'all, Google is very intuitive. If you haven't noticed, when you start typing a question, it tries to guess where you're going with this question, and it shows you all of the top options for what other people have put in there. So if I were a physical therapist, I would go in and I would start typing physical therapy, what to, and then see what populates.
Really, really good point. I want to also add, since we're saying, blog post tips right now, absolutely no keyword stuffing. We should not be having this conversation still, but I just want to reiterate it. Absolutely no keyword stuffing. The most important thing when it comes to creating content that's going to be on your website is creating quality content that people actually want to see, that actually makes sense. And like you said, you're answering a question that people would logically have.
Yeah, because there are two components to that blog post. Is how well you actually present the information and are answering the question. And then the other thing is it something that people are actually asking, right? So the topic is super important to that. So lots of different ways that you can divvy that up, but blog post is still a wonderful way to get some of that free awareness on the internet.
Exactly. So, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about social media. I want to tie blog posts and social media together real quick, though. Repurposing your content. If you're writing blog posts, that is a plethora of social media content. You can reformat it into a carousel. You could split it up into different short form videos. You can make a video series. Repurposing your content is so important. It's going to save you time, and it's going to help you be as efficient as possible.
And I do want to remind people, we say this all the time, but we get it. You guys get tired of saying the same thing over and over again. I promise you, your audience isn't going to get tired of it. Okay. Some people, it's going to be new. You may feel like you are reminding people of what appropriate attire is for your first PT appointment. I promise you, there's going to be somebody out there that does not know, and it's the first time that they are hearing it. So just because you talk about it, is it ad nauseum? Ad nauseum? Like when you talk about it way too much? I think it's ad nauseum. When you are just repeating yourself, you're not on repeat to other people because they are so bombarded with so much information these days. And remember, it takes people about 7 to 8 times for them to actually, I don't know, have something penetrate their brain. So feel free to, if repurposing content is just a good use of your time, because you can always put a different spin on it. And also, the big point here is the way people consume information on social media is very different than the way they are consuming information when they're reading a blog post. And so you can present the same information just in a very different way, in a new way on these different channels.
Exactly. Absolutely. I also want to say social media is only going to be as effective as you allow it to be. If you sit down, if you create a plan, you map out your intentions and your goals, it will be effective. It will be successful. If you are just randomly throwing stuff up there, you don't have a plan, you're not being consistent, social media is not going to help. It's not going to work. And then you're going to say, social media sucks and this isn't working, and you're going to be really upset. The problem is you need to be really clear about what your intentions are with any marketing strategy.
Yes, and social media is not any different. Here are 2 things that maybe you should consider with social media. One, think about the viewer's experience. And I've heard this a lot of times kind of likened to old school television channels. So, back in the day, you would turn on to, Chelsea probably doesn't remember this, AMC. Okay, so it was kind of like the Turner Classics. It played a lot of maybe like the cowboy and Western stuff. Every channel is very specific. You get a different experience with it. That is very different than if I tune into the Disney Channel, or if I tune into the Sci-Fi Channel or Discovery Channel. These are all very specific to the experiences that they are trying to create for the person that's watching. And so if you're a small business, consider your marketing channels or your social media channels like those. Okay, so think about it. When people land on my TikTok page, what type of experience do I want them to have? Right? How do I want them to view me, or how do I want them to view my business on Instagram? Each of these can be a little different, a slightly different variation of how you present the information or how you show up. We've talked about how I frankly think TikTok is unhinged, which is why you could show up a little different on TikTok than you can on Facebook, right? Things just work differently. And the platforms are all just kind of geared on, on what they promote and what they like people posting more of. And the second point I want to make is that posting does not equal marketing. Right. So I think a lot of times because Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn is free, we treat it differently because we're like, as long as I just post something, it doesn't matter what it is, right? Then I'm showing up and I can mark that off my to-do list. But that's not exactly how it works. You mentioned that people need to be just as strategic with it. And so maybe that's the approach that if we give you guys, or if you take anything away from this podcast today, is just be sure that even the free stuff, you're being analytical and you're approaching it with some type of strategy. So just because it's free does not mean that strategy goes out the window. If you're going to use it effectively to build something, then Chelsea on our end, one of the things she does is she creates a schedule and she puts in there, the different things we're going to be posting and touching on for that week. And what that does is it allows us to be way more intentional on the type of topics that we're covering and what we're sharing. So that's a great page out of that playbook, is just go ahead and actually care about what you're doing on social media, and posting does not equal marketing.
I'm so glad you said that. I want to bring this up too. Like you said, posting just a post, not going to work. Posting so that you can feel popular. Okay, maybe your profile, maybe your page will grow. That's great. Is that translating to sales? It doesn't matter how many followers you have. It doesn't matter if you're popular. If you are not translating that to sales, if you are not making money, then it's not working.
Yeah, and that's the whole conversation around virality, where we're often saying, it's great to go viral on these apps, but does it really change your business? Does it really help? And for some people it does, right? So we know Rob over at the vinyl record store that with his TikTok, he had some videos that went viral, and they actually translated to people following him and now staying up to date with what he's doing and purchasing vinyl records and purchasing t-shirts and stuff like that. So it's worked for him. He's been able to get them into his little stratosphere of, Black Circle record stuff. Yeah. And that's the right way to do it.
Exactly. I was going to say it worked for him because he's consistent, he has a strategy, and he's being very specific about what he does and how he posts.
Absolutely. And also, I think because he is one of the people that he just kind of shows up the way he is.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that a lot of people like, is he actually enjoys sharing the information he has about vinyl records and about music in general. And so people can appreciate that. But if you guys don't think that people can feel that on the other end, if you are just on there because you feel like it's just got to be, it's something on your to-do list, nobody's going to feel the love, right? You have to give people a compelling reason to start to follow you and to want to enter into your world. As I said, if you treat it like it's one of those old school television channels, there's a reason that Disney has grown the way it has and all of that. They build this entire experience for people. Do you love making crafts and working on your small business but struggle to get them in front of customers?
Do craft fairs, events, or pop-ups leave you feeling overwhelmed or frustrated?
Introducing Rock Your Fair, the course designed to help you succeed in the world of craft fairs, pop-ups, and events, created by two marketing professionals with over 15 years of experience. Rock Your Fair is perfect for anyone who's new to the game or just wants to step up their game.
Our step-by-step approach will guide you through everything you need to know, from choosing the right events, to setting up your booth, to marketing your products effectively.
And you know what? You'll also get access to us for personalized coaching and feedback so you can put your best foot forward.
Do not let craft fairs, pop-ups, and events hold you back. Sign up for Rock Your Fair today and start rocking your way to success.
For a limited time, get access to our free mini course. Simply head over to our website at www.theseasonedmarketer.com and click on workshops.
Transitioning to, I'm trying to think of a way to like tie these two together. And there is probably a very obvious way because it's user-generated content and we're literally talking about social media, but it's just not coming to me. Let's talk about user-generated content.
Chelsea said, forget the easy transition. I'm just going to bring it up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So user-generated content, if you do not know what it is literally what it sounds like. It is your customers, your consumers creating content and then sharing it, and then you share it, creating a community.
Yeah. And there are different approaches to this. So some of this obviously can be like a paid approach where you pay a micro influencer, somebody with like, let's say 2,000 followers on Instagram. You reach out to them, you say, hey, I notice you like soda pop. I got some new soda pop and I want you to go ahead and show up, drinking my soda pop and give an actual review of it. Right. So there are many different ways that you could go about this, but the big thing here, and I think the reason that Chelsea listed this under free, organic reach, right, is because you start to build an army of people that are evangelists for your brand. And that's the thing that you really want, people that buy into it and are willing to say like, hey, I really love this product. If you guys are on TikTok in 2024, you see this day in and day out. If I have to listen to one more TikTok affiliate tell me about some like skincare product that I'm missing out on, it is wild. But that's the point, is you get other people to kind of do the heavy lifting for you. And there are times where you could do this without paying people. So that's why it's listed under this free option, because you can get people when you reach out to say, hey, I'm going to, send you this product. Will you go ahead and just post your thoughts about it?
Well, you know what I just thought of? A great example would be creating your own hashtag. So you have a sign in your salon or in your store saying, hey, tag us in your stuff, use this hashtag, and then people will do that. On our social media, after I go to any market and I purchase stuff, like I went to the Feminist Magic Market last weekend, I always share all of the stuff that I've purchased, and I share the small business because I know that is user-generated content, and they're going to share that, and it's going to help spread their small business. And here at The Seasoned Marketer, we're all about supporting small businesses. So, for example, every single ring on this hand is from the Quarry Shop.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll tag them on YouTube in the description. I'll like add their information. But that is a great example of they didn't do anything, right? I am talking about them because I love them so much. I'm a brand evangelist. That is user-generated content. And I also want to talk about people are so tired of ads.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear it anymore. They don't want, and I low-key kind of want to say micro-influencers, great. Big influencers, I don't know if their marketing is as effective as it used to be. Hot take, I know.
Yeah, I love how Chelsea says, I want a low key, but yet she progresses to yell into the mic this not low key thing that she wants to say.
My bad.
No, I absolutely agree. I do think that a lot more people understand how it works nowadays. Okay. So we understand that when Kim Kardashian gets on there and talks about a product, obviously she's been paid to do so, right? So we all kind of, I think there's this underlying understanding of just how brands and influencers work. To your point, I think for a small business owner, if let's say just tossing out some ideas. If let's say that you're a coffee shop, you can do this in several different ways, but one of the things could be having a chalk easel maybe at the entrance that says like, hey, shoot a video or upload a reel of your favorite item, right? And tag us in it or something like that. But giving people prompts for what type of content you want them to be creating. Let's say that you have a shampoo for dogs. Well, maybe telling them like, hey, we want you guys to upload your before and after pictures of your nice, clean, fresh pet, right? Or something like that. So giving people directive is 100% okay. The other part of it too is kind of like the ring shop that you said. If in every purchase, they're adding a small little card that tells people like, hey, be sure that you tag us or that you use this hashtag every time that you upload X, Y, and Z. Or if you're saying do an outfit of the day and include us in there, right? We want you to mention our brand. All of that works. And like you said, it doesn't have the stigma of because it's just regular everyday people that are actually purchasing your product that you are not giving the product to for free. Then it does go a little further because like, you're thinking, okay, well, they invested, their hard-earned money in it. So obviously they're giving a non-biased review. Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels more natural. So related to user-generated content, because it kind of is user-generated content, but I wanted to have it as its own little section, is reviews.
Okay.
Reviews are so important. So important. And I feel like sometimes we can downplay it because you feel like people don't ever leave reviews or they only leave a bad review. That is not true. People will leave reviews. You got to remind them. You got to incentivize them. You got to say, hey, please leave us a review. But it is probably, okay, another hot take. This is probably the most important one because people having reviews is going to legitimize your small business. Think about it. If you found a small business and they had 0 reviews, you're going to feel iffy about buying anything from them.
Yeah, and especially because it goes into, so like you said, at the beginning, right, when we travel, we always have a list of like restaurants and places that we want to eat or go to because I have either...
I come up with all of them, just saying.
Yeah. You got to take the credit for it. But the thing is, because either we've seen it or we hear about the experience. Well, if we go onto Google and when we're searching it or Apple Maps for Chelsea and they don't have reviews populated on there that give us, some type of, I don't know, gauge as far as how good it is or what the experience is overall, then most of the time that's going to get marked off the list, right? Just because we have nothing to go on. Another one, I'll tell you, hands down, I just went through this whole thing where I was looking for a camera, this and that. I read so many reviews. I do this also with when I'm buying swimsuits online because I cannot physically try things on and I want to see the way they fit on people's bodies. I will filter reviews by photos. Yeah. I want to see if it looks, and these are photos that are uploaded by the people that bought the thing, right? So a lot of times the lighting is really bad, this and that. But what I'm looking for is I want to see if the material looks as good as what they're portraying on the website. Yeah. And so Chelsea, I think this is a really good one that you added on here because we do downplay reviews and what they can do for our business, not just by legitimizing it, but taking an active role in actually growing those reviews, I think is just a really good investment of time. And this really just looks like you guys having to ask people either by sending a follow-up email after they purchase from you or after they come into your restaurant or after they come into your cafe, or you putting some type of QR code somewhere or putting it on the receipt saying, hey, leave us a review.
I think that's a really good one. QR codes make it really simple. I would also say make it very clear that it is a QR code from your business, because if you got friends like I do, Maya, who is an IT expert, she's like, don't you dare be scanning random QR codes.
Yeah, don't scan random QR codes. Yeah. We're going to make a t-shirt out of that.
We're going to make a t-shirt and it's a QR code.
Yeah, and it's going to say you scanned it, now you got a virus. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Psych, we're just testing you.
I do also, coming back to reviews, I want to say, let's remember, sorry, I realized I was being very loud, so let me dial it back. My bad. Talking about reviews, let's remember, the more you ask for reviews, you're going to get positive and negative ones. We talk about it all the time. You are not for everyone. It's okay if you get a negative review. Just make sure that you respond to the review. Don't let it hurt you. Don't take it personally. I know you want to because it's your small business. It's your baby, but think about it. Is it reasonable? Is it something that you can actually fix? If it is, then go ahead and fix it. Just make sure that you are working to provide the best service to your customers. If the review is unreasonable, people will be able to tell.
Yeah, if the review is unreasonable, you can actually submit it to Google or whatever review agency you're using, because they do ban certain ones. Like if it's, if they don't have a leg to stand on because they're leaving a review, but they never tested your product, service, or never came to your business, then they will filter those out. They'll actually remove it if you can show that, that is the case. The other thing is that it has been shown, I can't remember who the reporting agency was for this study, but they did a study that actually gauged people's perception of a business, and it works better. It shows, it comes across better for a small business who responds to the negative reviews, because people see that they're engaged and they think, well, if I have a problem that comes up with this business, I know they're going to be attentive to it and they're actually going to respond and they're going to be on top of it. Whereas those that didn't, they just kind of saw as like, okay, they don't care about feedback.
Yeah.
So it does bode well for you if you're able to respond to the negative ones. And I think it also gives you an avenue. There have been times where, now some small business owners get really petty with this, but I actually enjoy sometimes reading the responses from the businesses, because like they have no shame sometimes in blowing up someone's spot. Like, well, ma'am, you did not X, Y, and Z, so we could not help you do X, Y, and Z. So I think it does give you an avenue to have a voice to say like, hey, yeah, we have some responsibility in you having a bad experience. However, you could have done this and it would help prevent that or something like that.
I, side tangent, I listened to Beach Too Sandy, Water Too Wet, and it's literally a brother and sister, and they just read the most hilarious reviews. Like, they're so funny.
If you guys have not listened to that podcast, it is really funny. Chelsea did introduce me to it, and I think it works because they're brother and sister duo, and I mean, we're a little partial to the family podcasting scene. But it's also really cute because some of the reviews that they read are outrageous. They are just like the funniest things, because I don't know how people, wake up in the morning and decide that they're gonna, the whole, their title for the podcast, Beach Too Sandy,
Water Too
Wet, actually came from a legit review that they read on, what was it, Chelsea?
On a beach.
On a beach. Someone wrote that.
That the beach was too sandy and the water was too wet.
So I think that's a great way to package it up. Like you said, people, you will get negative reviews every once in a while, and that's just take it on the chin. That's part of being a small business owner, and you may have a legitimate reason for why that experience didn't work out or wasn't its best. You can respond back to it, but there is a ton of value
to reviews, I just personally will tell you, if I go and I have to decide between two restaurants and one restaurant has over 1,000 reviews on it and the reviews are pretty good, and then the other one has 10, guess which one I'm probably going to go to, okay?
Mm-hmm. So my next one is going to be a little controversial because it's not necessarily free, but it is organic. Email marketing. Not necessarily free because you're more than likely going to have to pay for an email marketing platform. It is still organic. You are not purchasing an ad. It is all up to you. You are the one collecting the emails, creating the newsletters. If you want to outsource that, you can, but it can be within your small business organic. It's so important. We've done multiple episodes, I'm pretty sure, on email marketing, why it's important, how to pick an email marketing platform if you don't have one. We believe in email marketing so full-heartedly. And part of it is because I think in an episode recently, I said, what was the statistic? It was from Campaign Monitor 2023. Email marketing had the highest ROI for small businesses compared to all of the other marketing initiatives. I don't remember what they compared it to at the moment. If you watch that episode, I tell you, but yeah, email marketing had the highest ROI, return on investment.
Yeah, and to your point, though, the investment, so most of the platforms will charge you to actually send emails if your email list is to a certain point. If you are just getting started, y'all, you may actually be able to do it for a couple months for free, just depending on which platform you go to. And so don't let that be a barrier. And also, it's a minimal investment compared to what you get out of it. Now, like Chelsea said, just like with the social media thing, we're not telling you just like, write the most random things and send them off. Like, try to be strategic with it because it does help. I will tell you, my big thing with marketing in general is I always try to think about the oomph. Okay, so what I mean is we were sending emails out and I thought to myself, I'm like, what's one thing that we could do to just like add the oomph to this? Like, I mean, so what we did is at the top of every email, we actually have a menu that says it's got different things on there. It has like the courses and then it links to the course. It's got freebies and it links to our freebie page. And then it's got S.O.B marketing podcast and then it links to all the episodes. That was the little extra oomph where I'm like, if we are sending emails on a weekly basis and we have a list of over 1,000 small business owners on it, why would we not just add that to the top of something we're already doing to remind people consistently every week, hey, we have these things for you to take advantage of. They're not going to click on it every single time, but if they forgot we have a podcast and one day they open the email and they're like, you know what, let me check to see what type of podcast episodes they've been doing lately. I mean, that, that worked. So, with any type of marketing, just think of how y'all can add that oomph. If you're doing something already, how can I elevate it?
Exactly.
If you're collecting email addresses and you're not sending emails, that's how you can elevate that. Okay. I answered that question for you.
We could honestly talk about email marketing all day, and I don't want to get any more into it because I will just start talking. So if you're interested in email marketing and you want to learn more, go check out our episodes on email marketing. There should be 2. I'll double check. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll add them in the description.
So moving on to the next idea for how you can promote your business without spending money on ads, and that is to start a podcast. You know, that cool little thing that you're listening to right now on the airwaves. So Chelsea, tell us.
Don't say on the airwaves.
Why? It's not on the airwaves? On the microwaves? What's it on?
On the microwaves? Oh,
I'm
man.
joking. Now I'm just messing with you. So what value could a podcast? Now, there is a little bit of a startup cost, but I will say this. If you want to, if you think a podcast could really leverage your small business and help you grow, and it's a good use of your time, depending on, we're not saying you need to do weekly episodes. You can maybe do monthly episodes or episodes every, 2 weeks, whatever works best for you and makes sense for your small business. If you are thinking, I got to spend $500 on getting mics, on getting this, y'all, you don't have to. Do you know one of my favorite podcasts? She was talking about, she started it 5 years ago and she's grown it so big. She said she started her podcast by literally taking her phone into her closet because, it was a quieter room and she had kids and stuff, into her closet and taking the mic that comes with your iPhone. Okay. So the one that comes on your headset, and she literally would just record hers on there into her phone. If you guys just want to test it, instead of spending all that money into starting it up, then just try it. Just try it. You can always improve the quality of your audio and all that stuff. And audio quality is really important. And we did a recent YouTube marketing video on the Seasoned Marketer channel that actually had our recommendations for equipment, and all of it came in under $750, and that was for 2 people podcasting. And that included the software that we use and all that, but you don't need to start there. If you just want to start to see if there's going to be, to test the waters and see if there's going to be interest in it, and then you could grow it from there, you can always just do the bare minimum to get something up and running.
Exactly. I do also want to say, and we've said this multiple times this episode, but I just want to reiterate it, having a plan, being strategic about it, because a podcast is a good investment of time. So if you are going to dive in and you decide to create a podcast, you say, this is the best way for me to grow organically, just remember that it is going to be a big investment of your time.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, I can't imagine us just showing up every week and being like, let's just throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks, right? Yeah. Which I do think eventually, like, we'll probably get a little more, I don't want to say creative, because the purpose of this particular podcast is to talk about marketing things for small business owners. But one of the things, like, we truly enjoy, and I see us doing more of too, is meshing in, incorporating, weaving in these episodes where we're interviewing real life business owners and talking to them about the struggle they had and how they pivoted or what they did to get out of it or whatever. Because I do think that's the thing is, y'all want to hear from other people that are living through the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I do think that's where, if we didn't have a game plan going forward, it would be very hard and chaotic to try to stay on top of a weekly episode. So Chelsea, if I have not thanked you already, thank you for always, because Chelsea's the one that she does all of our timeline stuff, y'all. So if it's like topics, notes, stuff like that, just kind of getting all of that organized, because a lot of organization does play into the way we're able to show up and keep a consistent schedule. And if anything, Chelsea, and I've said this before, it's amazing to me how everybody thinks that something is so easy to do, but yet when they actually start doing it, they'll maybe do like 2 or 3 of them, and then they're like, oh, this is monotonous. Or, like, I got behind, I don't have time for it. You have to be very conscientious of making time to do things.
Yep, absolutely. That's why I try to stay very organized, specifically with the Seasoned Marketer. Am I organized in my own life? No, absolutely not. When it comes to work, I try to be very organized, because it is so easy for something to slip through the cracks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, and as a boss, that's music to my ears that you're so organized in your work life and not your personal life. And then as your sister, I'm equally as terrified on the other end that personal life is not as organized as your work life. Interesting spectrum to be on. No, I do. In all seriousness, I think the value in podcasting, because we've mentioned this in our YouTube video that we did on podcasting, but I don't think we've said it here. There is opportunity, so much opportunity. And I know Chelsea and I, actually, we did talk about this on the podcast because you brought this up. You had said one time, you said, I feel like it's oversaturated. And I told you it's actually not. It feels like that, but it's not. And especially from a business perspective, think about, I would love to know the percentage, and I don't think that there's any data on this, but I would love to know the percentage of podcasts that are for personal brands or personal stuff, and then podcasts that are actually business related, like that are promoting a business and have a purpose to driving, customers or clients that way. Because I think that the majority of podcast is the other, right? So it's people using it for personal stuff or whatever, but it's not businesses using it as an avenue to promote their small business.
Exactly. And that's why I wanted to make sure that we added podcast on here for our list. So really quick to wrap it up.
Oh,
today.
Can I throw one in there? Can I throw
You have another one? Yes, go ahead.
So, and I would love to get your thoughts on this. All right. So let's say you have $0 and you guys are like, man, I just need to get my business name out there and I have no clue how to go about doing this. I recommend that you go the old school route and actually figure out where a lot of business people are hanging out on a Thursday night or a Friday night, Wednesday night, whatever night is popular. I know Thursday nights are always popular around here and also with college kids. Remember, which Chelsea never went out on Thursday nights because she was a good girl, but
I graduated a year early.
Yeah, her big sister was not. Vivian here did not. I was not focused on graduating early. But my point is figure out where a lot of business people are hanging out in, like bellied up to a bar or something for a happy hour on that particular day, and go and drop $7 on a drink. I mean, if you guys want, you could just get a glass of water. I'm sure nobody will bat an eye, right? And just sit there and talk to people. That is probably, I can tell you, I know so many people that do this for their personal life, but also from a business perspective. Some of the gentlemen that are, I have a friend who is actually president at a local bank. That is how he gets his conversation started. And the amount of stuff that you hear in these places, just as far as leads or information that, maybe new businesses coming to town, stuff opening up, it's really good. And I think now the one thing I would recommend, Chelsea, we've been hitting home this idea of being very strategic with it. Same thing with this, because I'm not telling you to go hang out at a bar once a week and not have a strategy behind it. I would want you to have a very clear mission as to why you're showing up at these places, and also just kind of an idea of how you're going to present your business. If your goal is to go and to just promote your business name in the community, then obviously that requires you not sitting there and piddle paddling around, but actually having conversations and introducing yourself to people that are, in the vicinity. So great way to good old school networking helps. And I don't want us to just focus so much on all of the social stuff that's social in 2024, which is actually virtual and not real life social, which is networking and getting out there and rubbing elbows.
You are absolutely correct. That is a great little tip. I do want to say that is like the pro tip extrovert level.
Chelsea, let me ask you a big sister question. You have never gone and had lunch by yourself, or?
I have.
Okay. Does that make you uncomfortable? Are you comfortable? How's that?
No, it's fine. I don't want people to talk to me.
Oh, okay. See, That's the difference, because for me, I feel like that's the all of my friendships, that's how they've pretty much all started. It's just kind of, some of the coolest, and even you and I feel like have these interactions with people when we go to concerts and stuff. We actually will make friends with people and talk to them, get to know them and stuff. For me, I feel like that is truly where a lot of the relationship building starts. And as a small business owner, I hate to tell you guys this, but you have now roped yourself into this world where you need other people to purchase something from you. Okay. Like your livelihood depends on you being able to go out there and share with people your product, your service, your business. And so why not just enjoy it along the way and get really good at it? And I know it can be nerve wracking, but that's why you guys have Chelsea and Vivian here from the Seasoned Marketer. If you guys are in the low country and you're ever like, I want to go out networking, but I don't want to go by myself, hit us up. You can email us at Vivian at the Seasoned Marketer. And I guarantee you we would be more than happy to meet up and do that with
Absolutely.
you.
I will say, like, I am okay with networking. I would be okay to do that. I just have to be in the mindset of, like, I have to be strategic about it. I have to be like, this is what I'm going to do. If I'm going to go eat lunch by myself, I don't want anyone to talk to me because I'm not actively trying to network at the moment. I just want to explain myself. I am good at networking.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying that.
I
A
know.
lot of people are really good at networking. They just don't want to do it. Like they're like, I'd rather just be at home and do what I need to do. But if you're serious about, you guys really are on a tight budget, and or maybe you're just like, I feel like I've tried everything else, like I need to do something new. If you're not out there networking in person, then let that be the thing. And while we always recommend that you join your local chamber of commerce for this reason specifically, because they are an avenue, they are the connectors, right? That allow you to be in front of a lot of people or to rub elbows with people. They provide the events and the opportunities to do that. That is an investment too for a small business, because I think like our local chamber, I think they charge $325 a year, which is not a huge investment. Like we recommend everyone should do that. But if you don't have $325 to go join your local chamber to have that be your avenue for networking, then you can do it old school. You can go by yourself, just be strategic in the places that you choose and also in how you're going to show up. Because also, I